Thank you very much. Those were the musical talents of Neil White. Thank you, Neil.
This is funny. Welcome to Nova Scotia, everybody. Woo!
And, of course, welcome to Halifax.
Yeah. Okay. I can't see. Oh, you can see the slides on there. For those of you who don't, what are you doing?
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt you for a minute.
This happens all the time.
I've had to insert this slide. So before we get started into our speech, I do have to mention, in case of emergency, if you folks are sitting up there in the stands, if there is an emergency, an alarm, the exits are up behind you. So you just follow the concourse, follow the exit signs. You don't have to come down the stairs and all the way out back the way you came. So go to the closest exit up behind you. If you're sitting on the floor, please exit through the tunnel behind you. So yes, you don't have to go all the way back downstairs. So sorry about that, Tanya. I'll let you get started now.
Are you sure I'm good to go?
Yeah, you're good to go.
Okay, we're good to go. For those of you who don't know us, we are your conference co-chairs. I am Tanya Wimmer.
And I'm Hillary Moores Murphy.
Hillary and I both grew up in Nova Scotia, born and raised, very excited.
Yes, and so I grew up in the Annapolis Valley. I'm a valley girl. The land of wine and grapes and apples. And I now live in Halifax.
Just
wine
about
and
the
grapes
wine.
are kind of the same thing. Yeah, I like the wine the best. But I now live in Halifax, and I'm a research scientist with Fisheries and Oceans Canada, working here at the Bedford Institute of Oceanography.
And I'm actually from the south shore of Nova Scotia, so I'm the land of lighthouses and fishing. I also live in the Halifax area and am the director of the Marine Animal Response Society, which helps deal with our dead and distressed marine animals. Thank you. So this is an area of amazing people and wildlife, including the 3 species we've highlighted in our conference logo, which is beautiful, the gray seal, right whales, and northern bottlenose whales.
And we have been working very hard with our conference committee to bring you an informative and thought-provoking conference with a jam-packed schedule, including 4 concurrent presentation sessions, oral, speed talks, and video presentations, posters, exhibitors, plenaries, talks by the Wood and Norris Award winners, award presentations, and special events.
And this year we are introducing a lunchtime conservation series. So if you come here into the Scotiabank Centre in this area, on Tuesday during lunch there will be a session on the plight of vaquita. And on Wednesday we're going to have a panel speaking about right whales. And then on Thursday you're going to come here and hear I'm totally confused what you're doing, about monk seals.
And we are both very, very excited. If you haven't noticed, we're very excited.
A little tired, very excited.
To be hosting this conference and to have you here visiting our beautiful city of Halifax. And of course, we couldn't run a conference without providing lots of opportunities to socialize and network and have fun. So we hope that you enjoyed our Nova Scotia kitchen party and our welcoming reception last night at the Halifax Seaport Farmers Market.
Yeah, it was fun. This is you.
Tonight there will be a communications panel event in room 200D featuring the Calvineers, a panel discussion, a question and answer period, all followed with a reception with food and cash bars.
And then tomorrow night, Tuesday evening, we're actually going to be hosting an event that will be open to the public as well as to everyone here to celebrate Canadian marine mammals. We'll have panelists who are going to tell us their stories of encounters with Canadian marine mammals, and this is going to be followed by the Great Marine Mammal Trivia event, and there'll be some light snacks and cash bars available, and everyone is welcome.
The student event takes place on Wednesday night at the Maritime Museum of the Atlantic down on the waterfront. There will be icebreaker activities, opportunities to interact with mentors, prizes, a photo booth, food, and drinks. So the students, they must sign up to get a ticket for this event. There is a cap on the number of events, and unfortunately, we are a little bit oversold on this event. So we were asked to warn the students. All students are welcome, but we're only going to be able to let the first 280 in the door. So show up early.
That's right. And so Thursday night, there's going to be an LGBTQ mixer at the Obladi Wine Bar and Restaurant just down the street. And this venue also has limited capacity, so come early so you can make sure you can get in.
And then we get to end the conference off with a bang. So on Friday night, we have our closing celebration and costume masquerade bar, and you do not want to miss this event. So there will be food and cash bars at this event, and the amazing Melatones will be entertaining us with some live music.
And though the event is casual, we do encourage people to wear masks or costumes. If you didn't happen to bring one with you, or just in case you couldn't fit that costume into your suitcase, don't worry. There's actually going to be a mask making station here in the Scotiabank Centre at the other end later in the week. So we encourage people to swing by, make a mask for yourself, or maybe you just want to make one for someone else. Or if you just need a little bit of a break, go do some fun crafts. There'll be lots of glitter and glue. It's awesome.
And for this event, make sure you get your tickets if you want to attend the event. Tickets are needed to get in the doors, and there is limited space available, and we were almost sold out. So make sure you get your tickets if you want to come to that closing celebration.
Hey, Hill, this is like an awesome jersey. Awesome jersey.
I know, it's pretty sweet, right? Like, it's an awesome jersey.
Well, and it's kind of too bad we're sold out. All the
Yeah,
jerseys,
yeah.
we're sold out of everything.
No, but wait. Because there is such a high demand, we were able to do some finagling, and we will have more blue t-shirts and more blue hockey jerseys available on Thursday for pickup. You can pre-order and pay, so you must pre-order and pay. At the registration desk, there's limited supplies, so get in there early if you really wanted a jersey now that you see how swank they look. Make sure you go and pay and pre-order them. They will be available on Thursday. Okay, so some other announcements that we have to make. Remember to upload your presentation well in advance of your talk in the speaker upload room. If you're talking today and you haven't uploaded your talk yet, you need to do that like as soon as possible, right at the beginning of the coffee break. So do that quickly. The speaker upload room is in room 205. As well, if you are collecting an international or a student travel grant, they will be handed out by the Student Affairs Committee and our Society Treasurer, Tim Reagan, on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday from 12 to 2 p.m. near the registration desk. Okay.
So the other thing to note, the very, very important, all coffee breaks will be here in the Scotiabank Centre on the other side of this curtain. The other really interesting thing you guys may have realized, this is actually the hockey arena for the city. The ice is right under your feet. They don't get rid of it. So this is all ice. We thought about letting you have skates and stuff, but it just would have been really bad. But the first one we're gonna have will be here after our amazing plenaries that will follow this. The other thing to note is that there is a concession stand here in the Scotiabank Centre. It'll be open throughout the week, first thing in the morning until later in the day, warm and cold snacks and beverages, and it's just, you probably passed it on your way in. We're also told that there will be some food trucks that will be outside the main doors where you entered into the convention center at the lunch hour. And there's a food court, there's a little mall that's just down the street, the Scotia Square Mall, and in there's also a food court. And of course, there's many, many restaurants located, and bars, pubs, whatever suits your fancy. It's all within this downtown core, so it shouldn't be too far, and you will be fed. Very importantly.
Okay, and of course we couldn't leave without saying all of our thank yous. So nothing would have been possible without our incredible conference, scientific program, committee chairs, two extraordinary individuals who worked very hard to bring you an informative and enthralling conference, Sophie Van Paris and Damien Lidgard. So they are partners in crime for all of us. This is their fault as well. And they're incredibly talented and fun, and sometimes we even let Damien get a word in. So thank you guys very much for all of your hard work.
Bravo, bravo. They are phenomenal. And of course, with them and us, we had an incredible team that actually helped us for the last 2 years to bring everyone here. It would not have been, nothing would have happened without our amazing organizing committee, the Student Affairs Committee, the Scientific Program Committee, all of our associate editors, all the consultants that we had working with us. We are extremely indebted to all of these amazing people. They've made us so happy and kept us a little bit stress-free, which was lovely.
We also thank the folks on the Board of Governors who helped make this conference a success, especially Jay, Ann, Tim, Lindsay, and Giuseppe.
Yes,
Yes,
bravo.
yes.
Yes.
And of course, we would like to thank the wonderful staff of the Halifax World Trade and Convention Center for providing such a great facility and friendly, helpful people, especially Don Baldwin, who got us into this whole mess. Thank you, Don. And Andrew Tynes for guiding us through and getting us a Zamboni ride. Thank you, Andrew.
I guess in that same thread, we should actually probably also thank Hal Whitehead, Sarah Iverson, Chris Taggart, because they originally all turned Don down and handed over our names. So the reason we're in here, this mess, is also because of those people going, no, no, no.
And of course, we want to thank our wonderfully patient and supportive partners and our pets as well.
Okay, and one thing no conference should ever be without. And most of you probably received an email from him, or he saved your butt at some point, or asked him a question, or he helped you through registration. No conference should be without a Jarrett. He was now I'm going to get emotional.
Don't cry, Tanya, it's okay.
We were so happy to have him through this whole thing. We had a little bit of a chaos this summer with right whales, and Jarrett really saved our sanity. So we are so thankful for Jarrett.
Yeah. We are very grateful to have had so many amazing sponsors help bring this event to you and make this event a success.
Sure. And of course, a huge thank you to everyone who's here. We actually have more than 1,700 conference delegates, exhibitors, presenters, and marine mammal enthusiasts. And thank you, thank you, thank you.
We are, of course, both very, very excited, as I said before, to share with you this marine mammal odyssey, eh?
Okay, so now that we've gotten our thank yous out of the way, it's time for us to call upon our Society President, Jay Barlow, to come up and say a few words.
Ooh, impressive. This is the first time in 6 years that a society president has had to stand up in front of you and welcome you without an Australian accent. Everything, to me, sounds wittier and more profound when it's said in Australian. So you'll just have to bear with me as I muddle along in plain old American flat English. So welcome already. On behalf of the Society for Marine Mammal, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you to the 22nd Biennial Conference on Marine Mammals. So we've been doing this for 44 years now. The first order of business is, I'm not going to repeat all of the thanks, but we obviously have a great number of people to thank. But first and foremost are Tanya and Hillary. Thank you. The Society was in a real pinch when Mexico had to drop out of their bid to host this 22nd biennial. And these two stepped forward and said, yeah, I think we can do it, eh? I think we should do it. And thank goodness for the Society they did, and they did it extraordinarily well. And you will see, I'm sure, in the next week how smoothly everything will run and how well everything was put together. Thank you very much. You guys should be really proud. I would also like to thank their employers. Even though they continued to work their day jobs, I'm sure that their day jobs suffered for all of the work that they had to put into this conference. So Hillary works for Department of Fisheries and Ocean, and Tanya's from Mars, the Marine Animal Stranding Society. We thank their employers for providing the time that they needed for this. We have an exciting program for you. Aside from what Tanya and Hillary already described, we have a number of special award ceremonies. You'll hear about the introduction of a brand new scholarship award later in this program. We have the Conservation Merit Award, which is the highest awarded by our Conservation Committee. It will be awarded on Thursday. Also Thursday, we have the F.G. Wood Award for the best student paper in our journal, Marine Mammal Science. Friday, we have the Ken Norris Lifetime Achievement Award and a presentation by the award recipient, Randy Reeves, who is, as you know, a fantastic conservationist in the field of marine mammals. Following that, we're going to have our general members meeting. So I encourage you all to stay on after Randy's presentation and learn all of the great things that the Society is doing for you, its members. We have lots of activities. We will hear a presentation from our next sponsors for our Society meeting in Barcelona, Catalonia, yay. We're going to have additional information about the formation of a new conservation fund that I'm very excited about. Following that, we're going to have the award ceremonies for the presentations at this conference, and those are always very exciting, and it's going to be concluded by the best video presentation. So we have a new format at this meeting, and the video format, and the best video is going to be replayed at the end of that presentation. Next item of business, I need to draw your attention to page 24 of your manual. That's our code of conduct. We want this meeting to run without a hitch, and that means following the rules. We have zero tolerance for any form of harassment. Obviously, sexual harassment, but academic bullying, it's a thing. We don't want to see any of that. It's very important that you report ethics abuses, and we have a number of ways to do that. If you see anyone with a red dot on their tag, it means they're a member of the organizing committee or the board of the society, and you can report any abuses to them. We also have email hotline, so you can email ethics@marinemammalscience.org. That'll go straight to the ethics chair and myself, and we'll schedule a meeting with you and get to the bottom of that. We can't do anything about what we don't know about, so make sure that you report things. The rules are pretty simple. Play nice and just pretend you're not in a hockey rink. I do want to say a few words about the Vaquita CPR project. That's the Conservation, Protection, and Recovery of Vaquita. A great number of our members are down there and can't attend this conference because of all the work they're doing in a last-ditch effort to save this species. We're missing two past presidents, past conference chair, the chair of our conservation committee, a member at large, and a great number of other members. We just need to thank them for their duty. And if you want to hear a little bit more of the plight of this porpoise, there'll be a lunchtime presentation on tomorrow, Tuesday, and I'm going to answer questions afterwards. Finally, I want to encourage you to support the Society for Marine Mammalogy. This is your society. Join, pay your dues. We do a lot for you. We host this conference. We sponsor a really, really fine journal. We support student and international travel to this conference. We support mini grants to researchers in developing countries. We're doing a lot of good things. Sadly, many of those of you who can afford it best are not joining the society now. Yes, I'm looking at you. Maybe you work for an organization that pays your way to the conference. Maybe they provide access to the journal already, so you don't see any financial incentive. Well, in the conservation community, they say that if it comes down to a cost-benefit analysis, you've already lost the argument. So I'm not going to go there. You should join because of all the great things that we do and pride in this society. And I encourage you all to rethink your position and take a less mercenary approach and take a more open approach. We need your help. Join the committees. We welcome you. Come to our general members meeting and learn more about the wonderful things that the society is doing for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jay. I would now like to introduce our next speaker. So Terry Beach represents the riding of Burnaby North Seymour in British Columbia, but is joining us today in his capacity as the Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Fisheries, Oceans, and the Canadian Coast Guard. So Mr. Beach is an accomplished small business owner, educator, and community advocate who has built his reputation by acting on his strong commitment to innovation, fiscal leadership, and integrity. With a focus on innovation, Mr. Beach has built successful companies, including Hire the World, which he co-funded in 2009. He also served as an adjunct professor at both Simon Fraser University and the University of British Columbia. Recognizing his outstanding abilities, he was chosen as one of BC's top 40 under 40 by Business in Vancouver and by Maclean's magazine as one of Canada's top 10 leaders under 30. Growing up in a coastal province, Mr. Beach is also passionate about the health of our oceans and the marine life within them. Most recently, he attended the Southern Resident Killer Whale Symposium in Vancouver, where he had an opportunity to meet with experts and learn about the latest research, techniques, management strategies, and other facets of marine mammal conservation. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Beach.
Bonjour à tous, je suis heureux d'être ici à Halifax. I'd like to start by acknowledging that we are on the traditional territory of the Mi'kmaq Nation, and I'm just so pleased to be here. And on behalf of our Minister of Fisheries and Oceans and the Canadian Coast Guard, Dominic LeBlanc, I want to thank everybody that's here, including our wonderful co-chairs, Dr. Hilary Moores-Murphy from DFO, Tanya Wimmer from Mars, Jay Barlow, who we just heard from, and Ann Pabst from the Society of Marine Mammalogy, and I didn't have it, but I wrote it in, and Jared. I got to know this Jared guy. I don't know if he's here, but I'd like to give him a high five or a fist bump or whatever Jared wants to do before I leave. Of course, all the scientists, stakeholders, and everyone that's here for all the great work that you're doing. I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I am from Vancouver Island, and I was involved with marine mammals very young. In fact, I was raised on Vancouver Island, so we had a place called Sealand. And as a 5-year-old, I would go and watch Tilikum and the orca whales perform and the like. And that was, of course, before Blackfish came out, and I realized my entire childhood was a lie, and it was horrible. But it nevertheless captured my imagination. And then I grew up, and I worked for the Aquilini Investment Group for a while, which owns the Vancouver Canucks, which, of course, our logo is the orca whale. And before I became the Parliamentary Secretary to Fisheries and Oceans, I was actually the Parliamentary Secretary to Science. And when the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, called me to ask if I would serve as the Parliamentary Secretary of Fisheries and Oceans, I was actually with my wife on a diving trip. And I was a little nervous because this was the first time that the Prime Minister had actually called me. And I didn't want to say that I was on vacation It was oh, hey boss, yeah, just out here diving. So it seemed appropriate after he had told me what he wanted me to do. I was just doing intense research for the position in advance. We had actually seen humpback whales do, 3 humpback whales do full breaches earlier that day, which was just amazing. And we had a friend that was with us that had this really great drone that they would send out so you could actually see up close from above the amazing power, beauty, inspiration of these wonderful creatures. Yet despite this, we know that the survival of many of our marine mammals are threatened because of our massive human footprint. There is no marine habitat that remains unaffected by human activity. Prey depletion, noise, rising ocean temperatures, pollution, many of the impacts of our changing marine environment. When I travel across the country, it seems obvious to me that for far too long, Canadians, and indeed the world, have taken our oceans for granted. Just yesterday, I had the honor of attending the North Atlantic Right Whale Consortium meeting. Over the summer, we lost at least 15 North Atlantic right whales, 12 in and around the Gulf of the St. Lawrence, and 3 others off the northeast coast of the United States. There were also a number of live entanglements recorded. I'm just going to give this to you. We now have the results of the necropsy report on 6 of the deceased whales, and the results confirmed our preliminary findings. Death caused by blunt force trauma, likely due to collision with ships, an entanglement in fishing gear. While these reports confirm that initial actions to close fisheries and impose a vessel speed limit were appropriate actions to take, we must now focus on the future to ensure that similar tragedies never happen again. Earlier this month, as Hillary mentioned, I attended a symposium in Vancouver focused on the plight of the southern resident killer whale, an iconic species for us in British Columbia. With fewer than 80 southern resident killer whales off the coast of British Columbia, the orca population is critically endangered, continues to face a variety of serious threats, including marine contaminants, increased vessel traffic and noise, and shortages of prey. We simply cannot go on acting as if our waters have limitless capacity to absorb the impacts of humankind. Conservation and protection, and I actually delete protection in most of my speeches because I don't feel that it goes far enough. So conservation and restoration of our marine environment is a priority for our government. That is why we have been making historic investments in aquatic sciences, marine conservation, and coastal restoration, which includes working on action plans for our endangered whale populations. This includes not just the southern residents and not just the North Atlantic right whale, but the St. Lawrence beluga whales as well. We in Canada are increasing our marine protected areas from 1% of our oceans to 10% of our oceans by 2020. In fact, we'll hit 5% protection by the end of this year, accounting for hundreds of thousands of square kilometers of ocean that will now be protected. That's absolutely worth applauding for, so thank you for that. We've joined the UN Clean Seas campaign. We're working to fight plastic accumulation in our waters. We've invested $197 million of new money into scientists at the Department of Fisheries and Oceans, one of the largest hiring of scientists in the department's history. We've put $1.5 billion into Canada's Ocean Protection Plan, another historic level of investment that shows just how serious we're taking this problem. Last spring, we invested $1.4 billion into the department to make sure that we could meet our core mandate, including our science mandate. We have worked with the U.S. on an oil and gas ban in the Arctic, and we've implemented an oil moratorium on the northwest coast of Canada. We are working on legislation that will restore protections across a wide variety of departments, including habitat protections under the Fisheries Act. Not to mention billions of dollars of investments going into sewage treatment and other critical infrastructure. And I can list much more, and there is much good work happening, even though it seems that we can't work fast enough. In fact, just last Monday, I was in the House of Commons working to pass Bill C-55, an amendment to our Oceans Act, to provide an even greater level of protection. And this doesn't even get into the leadership that Canada is taking around climate change and the fact that we've implemented a national price on carbon. I know that there are representatives here from 70 different countries, and if you need something to look at or to consider of what your own countries can do to help combat climate change, look at the success of carbon pricing in British Columbia. And it's because of that success that we are expanding that program across the country as one of, in my opinion, one of the best things that we can do to actually combat climate change for the world. So while there is a tremendous amount of work for us still to do, I would say that there is many reasons for us to be hopeful for the future. Our investments in science, for example, are key to addressing threats facing marine mammals and helping us better understand the role they play in aquatic ecosystems. It also underpins many aspects of the work being done at Fisheries and Oceans Canada. Science informs policies, regulations, enforcement, protection measures, and helps predict the future growth of Canada's fisheries. Next month will mark the first anniversary of Canada's ambitious Oceans Protection Plan, which will help improve marine safety and protect our oceans environments while addressing key threats to marine mammals in Canadian waters. We must remember that the successful recovery of our iconic whales in Canada depend on all of us: governments, scientists, industry, academia, environmental non-government organizations, Indigenous peoples, Canadians, people of the world, all working together like we never have at any time previous in human history. It is a massive step forward that we need to take. I think everyone in this room, more than probably any other place that I could speak, understand that, and we need to make sure the rest of the world understands that as well. This year alone, fishery officers have spent more than 4,600 hours supporting marine animal response and over 1,400 hours monitoring marine protected areas. This year, Fisheries and Oceans Canada received $2 million to develop a national approach to responding to marine mammal incidents. This funding will cover operations, training, and equipment for fishery officers who will assist experts responding to marine mammal collisions, entanglements, and strandings in a safe and timely manner. This new capacity will also bring with it the added benefit of enhancing compliance, enforcement, and surveillance of marine protected areas in support of our government's initiative on marine conservation targets. When it comes to our oceans, Canada has much to celebrate. We have the world's largest coastline and a rich maritime history. And our wealth of water supports a complex web of marine life. We also have an active community of scientists, conservation experts specializing in ocean and freshwater research who are working to ensure that marine mammals continue to exist and thrive in our ecosystems. I want to thank everyone here for fulfilling their passions and directing their efforts to the preservation and recovery of so many iconic species. I wish you all success and productivity in the conference that you're enjoying today. I am astounded with over 1,000 sessions that have been organized for everyone here to enjoy. It is yet another small step in the giant step that we must all make together. So thank you very much for all the work you do, and thank you for having me here today.
Thank you so much, Mr. Beach. That was wonderful. Now I want to call upon our, probably the dream team for the Science Program Committee, Sophie and Damien.
Thank you. I think this is Damien and I'm Sophie. We're your science program team. I think as Hillary and Tanya are enthusiastic, we're kind of more boring and curmudgeon-y. So we make a really good combination.
Speak for yourself.
We hope you enjoy the scientific program that, together with the scientific program committee and the 5 associate editors we brought in, we've been working on for the last year. This meeting has a conservation focus, and that's really reflected in the structure of the sessions that you're going to see throughout this program. We have 12 general themes, and we had 6 sub-themes for conservation. They're kind of all grouped together here, and the number of presentations per theme were proportional to the number of abstracts submitted. So basically, if there was more presentations for the themes that were more popular, this is a way to kind of make it more equitable, and we really worked hard at trying to do that. We had 1,323 abstracts submitted, of which we accepted 1,045, and we had a grand total of 299 reviewers, many of whom are in the audience here, so thank you very much for doing that. That was a huge job. You're going to see a number of poster presentations, so this is one of obviously the presentation types. And for posters, there's 546 posters total. There's 2 groups, Group A and Group B, and those presenting will be in one of those. Group A is on Monday and Tuesday, and Group B will be presenting on Wednesday and Thursday. And Damien made this nice slide, so he's just telling me I need to move to it. So please, for those presenting, make sure your posters are up. I know many posters for the Group A session are not up yet. Get them up during the break, as soon as possible, please. And you need to take those down at the end of your evening session. We want you to be there during the Monday and the Tuesday time periods next to your poster. And then for Group B, please get them up Tuesday evening, Wednesday morning, and take them down a Thursday after your session and be there for those 2 sessions as well. Kim Davis, our amazing poster chair, has organized these poster pods. So you'll see groups of people along with leaders in the field going around and hopefully creating discussion and having an awful lot of fun to kind of promote our posters. Our oral session formats are really quite standard to what you're used to. Your presentations are 12 minutes with 2 minutes of questions and 1 minute just to change over. We're going to ask our session chairs. Sam Simon is our session chair overseer, and she is going to make sure that everyone's strict on timing. You can see her smiling over there. She's asked that all speakers sit up the front and also be mindful of the audience. You know, just if you're going to move between sessions, do so quietly and only when the speaker's finished speaking. It's just plain rude otherwise and really disruptive. If you do need to leave, sit at the back and go out quietly and turn your cell phones off at the start of all of our sessions. We're going to ask that all the speakers stay behind after the session so that you can come up. If you don't have a chance to ask any questions, please come up and do so afterwards. They're going to be there for 10 minutes, so you have a chance to interact with them and actually ask further questions.
Okay, so this is what we have to offer you, and Sophie's already talked about the oral and the posters, so my job is to talk to you about speed talks and video presentations. So speed talks, 4 minutes in length, and then you have 1 minute to get off the stage and then let the next person come up. So Speed Talks came to the Louie M.Herman Conference in Tampa in 2011, and as you can see, there were just 14. And now, today, we have 12 sessions with 158 presenters. So clearly, Speed Talks are very popular, and they are indeed here to stay. So yes, we have a new presentation format that I'm very excited about. This is the video presentation. And this is really an opportunity for you scientists to become creative, bridge that gap between art and science, and use art and your creative talents to get your research out, not just to the scientific arena, but also wider to the public. It makes you think hard about what your message is in your research and how to creatively express that. Let's have a look. So we had 22 submissions, 22 people interested in presenting videos, and the final submissions we ended up with 8, and that is lovely for me. That's going to hopefully make an impression to all you people here and encourage you to think about using video in your future presentations. And then each presentation, of course, was judged by 3 reviewers, and we selected a winner. The average score for our presentation quality was around 76%, so that's excellent. Okay, yes, and then some, just a little bit on etiquette. So video presentations are the same as a speed talk. They're 4 minutes in duration. And we just ask the presenter to come up and stand there while the presentation is running. As with all presentations, we ask all presenters of speed and video talks to come up to the front so you can transition quickly. Speed talks and video presentations are blended into the sessions, and so we have 7 presentations, and then there will be a 5-minute break for questions for those presentations, and then there will be 6 or 7 more presentations depending upon the session, and then at the end there will be a longer question period, anything from 10 to 20 minutes. So lots of opportunity for questions. And on the etiquette side, for these speed talk presentations, we really do encourage you to either stay for the whole session or to leave during the question period. These presentations are short, and having people move in and out of the rooms frequently is just going to be very disruptive to everyone in the room, not just the presenter. So please stay in the room if you can, and I think, is that it?
We've asked the volunteers to not let you out or in other than during the question periods of the speed sessions.
So good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sophie and Damien. Next up, I'm going to call on our president-elect, Ann Paps, to come up for a special presentation.
Good morning, everyone. For the next few moments, we will take time to honor and to celebrate those colleagues and our friends whom we have lost since the last time they were all gathered here together. This is our In Memoriam presentation.
What is important in our perceptions. And our job here is to understand through our own perceptions as humans what it's like to be a dolphin.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They learn much more than I never knew. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
many thanks to Anne and Jared for putting that lovely video together. That was beautiful. Next, I'm going to call on Jay to come to the stage to introduce some special guests.
That's very nice. One of the giants we lost a little over a year ago was Louis Herman. Lou was a pioneer in many ways, and he was a mentor to many of the people here, and many of his students spawned other students who are also here. We owe a lot to him. He felt he owed a lot to the society. His family wants to give back to the society and have established a research scholarship in his name, and would like to tell you a little bit about it. His wife, Hannah, and daughter, Elia, are here, but first, Adam Pack will introduce them. Thank you very much.
Pioneer, trailblazer, visionary, mentor. These are but a few of the many accolades that could describe Louis Herman, who sadly left us on August 3rd, 2016. Lou was a charter member of the Society for Marine Mammalogy and a professor for over 40 years at the University of Hawaii. Over the course of Lou's distinguished career, he produced the classic book, Cetacean Behavior, and he authored or co-authored more than 160 scientific publications on marine mammals. His many discoveries were featured in print and film around the world. In 1969, inspired by the large dolphin brain and realizing that there was a dearth of scientific information on dolphin intelligence, Lou developed the world-renowned Kewalo Basin Marine Mammal Laboratory in Hawaii. There, working together with 9 remarkable and unforgettable dolphins and scores of students and colleagues, Lou conducted groundbreaking studies of dolphin sensory perception and cognition. Lou's whole approach to working with a dolphin was to tutor and educate it the way you would a child to reveal the full flower of its intellect, which so often was unanticipated and quite remarkable. Arguably, Lou's most famous discovery was the dolphin's ability to understand sentences within artificial languages. Here, in this clip from the 1982 Nova documentary, Signs of the Apes, Songs of the Whales, Lou talks about some of his work.
We have to recognize that there are differences between humans and dolphins, not only in terms of the obvious structures and the kinds of worlds we live in, but in terms of our thinking processes, perhaps, and in terms of what is important in our perceptions. And our job here is to understand through our own perceptions as humans what it's like to be a dolphin.
The dolphins are Phoenix and Akea Kamai, whose name means lover of wisdom. Each dolphin has been taught a vocabulary of about 30 words, object names, actions, and modifiers, which can be rearranged to produce up to 1,000 sentences.
Dolphins are very bright, in keeping with most people's popular opinion about them. Their intelligence, in some sort of a general sense, is very high. Our goal here, however, is to try to map out that intelligence, to try to understand the specializations, the particular strengths, and the weaknesses as well.
Lou's work also extended into the wild. In 1976, Lou pioneered the scientific study of humpback whales in Hawaiian waters. He created what would become one of the longest continuous scientific investigations of humpback whales in the world, and an archival catalog of fluke photographs that allowed him and his students to trace the life histories of individual humpbacks for over 30 years. Lou conducted the first aerial surveys of humpbacks in Hawaii, describing their distribution and social organization, and he coined the term escort, which is, of course, now universally used to describe the male accompanying a mother-calf pair. There were, of course, many other discoveries and papers along the way, including a seminal paper synthesizing all that we know about humpback whale song, which incredibly Lou produced in the last months of his life. Here, taken from the National Geographic film Humpbacks Inside the Pod, which Lou worked on with his daughter Elia and myself, is Lou, in his own words, talking about his early whale studies.
In 1975, I became aware of some rumors that there were humpback whales in these waters.
He took to the skies and found whales, lots of whales.
And we flew every 2 weeks in our small single-engine Cessnas and photographed and counted the whales and studied their distribution.
That first survey launched one of the longest-running studies of humpbacks on the planet.
Lou is also a dedicated and caring educator who provided unparalleled opportunities for students of all ages. His laboratory was where many students gained their inaugural marine mammal research experiences. Lou challenged his students to think imaginatively when it came to designing studies and problem solving. Over 40 students earned their graduate degrees with Lou, and still more came through the lab as interns, staff, and postdoctoral students. And today, many of these individuals, some of whom are seated here today, have gone on to develop wonderful careers with marine mammals in science, in education, in veterinary medicine. It's truly difficult to imagine what our understanding of dolphin intelligence and whale behavior would be like without the wealth of knowledge revealed from Lou's work. His numerous discoveries will live on not only through writings and films, but also through those whom he inspired to carry on his quest to understand the complexities of cetacean cognition and behavior. As Phil Clapham recently wrote, Lou leaves behind a legacy that most of us can only dream of. Lou is one of the early pioneers of research on living whales and dolphins, and those of us who followed in his footsteps owe him a great debt. I count myself among those fortunate individuals. I started at the lab at the age of 20. Despite no previous experience with dolphins or whales, Lou gave me the opportunity to learn my craft, guiding me along the way, challenging me to live up to my potential, cheering me on when I did, and being there to catch me when I fell short. And mine is just one of countless personal journeys that Lou Herman helped make happen. Lou, you named one of your dolphins Ake Akamai, which in Hawaiian means lover of wisdom. But the truth is, you were the true lover of wisdom, and you passed that gift on to all of us whose lives you so deeply touched. And now I'd like to invite Lou's wife, Hannah, and his daughter, Elia, and grandson, Mikala, up to the stage.
Thank you, Adam, for that wonderful tribute to Lou. As you can imagine, this is quite difficult for me. But I wanted you to know that the qualities that characterized Lou as a researcher, curiosity, creativity, innovation, love of learning, joy in discovery, imaginative problem solving, and remarkable resilience are also all personal qualities that made him an exceptional father and husband. I think Lou is well known for his scientific rigor, but for us, he had this wonderful wit, playfulness, his way with words, his passion for swimming and the ocean, and his unwavering zest for life always made our lives with him full of adventure, fun, and love. In addition to his professional legacy, Lou's personal legacy continues, for he is now a grandfather. And though we miss him dearly every day, we find some comfort when we see his familiar, mischievous sparkle in his grandson, Macaulay's eyes. Elia, our daughter, was probably the thing Lou was most proud of in his entire life.
I feel so incredibly fortunate to have had Lou Herman as my father because of the opportunity to grow up in this marvelous world of marine mammal science, and even more because he was the most incredible, fun-loving, and dedicated dad. To honor his professional and his personal legacy, today we are establishing the Louis M.Herman Research Scholarship to promote the type of research and creativity that were the hallmark of his groundbreaking studies. The scholarship will be given every 2 years in the amount of $5,000, and more details on the award are available on the Society's website. And that first deadline for applications is January 25th, 2018. We want to express our gratitude to the Society that's just been tremendous in helping us set this up, and of course, to all of my father's friends and family and colleagues for their generous donations that have made this award possible. In 2012, my father reflected on his remarkable and unexpected journey in an article entitled Historical Perspectives, published in Aquatic Mammals. He writes, "When I look back over all those laboratory and field years, as well as the years that came before my unintended career, it seems as if my path was somewhat like that of a wanderer, going nowhere in particular along an open highway, but stopping curiously at every location when a sign read, 'Viewpoint ahead.' Often the views were spectacular. We hope that by establishing this award, we can help him and many others continue the adventure. Thank you so much, and as my father would say, aloha."
Oh, thank you so much for that beautiful, beautiful presentation and the announcement of the new scholarship. That was wonderful, wonderful.
And with that, we're going to conclude our opening ceremonies, only just a couple of minutes behind, so we're starting off great.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you all so much to all the speakers, the participants, our exhibitors, our sponsors, everybody that's here. We hope you have a fabulous conference, Thank you very much.
Great, thank you.